All right, we'll call the June 8th, 2026 regular meeting of Peters Township Council to order. Mr. Lauer, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Waldinger?
Here.
Mr. Steigel?
Here.
Mr. Arcuri?
Here.
Mr. Kozer?
Here.
Mr. Lewis?
Here.
Mr. Bintay?
Here.
Ms.
Stan?
Shannafeld will not be here tonight.
Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can't remember the last time we heard the pledge echo like that in this room. Makes you proud to be an American. Okay, first item, approval of the minutes, approval of the transcript of the public hearing held on April 27th, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. 6-0, Mr. Lauer. Next item, approval of the minutes of the council meeting of May 26, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. 6-0, Mr. Lauer. Okay, next we'll go into special reports, of which there are none. So we'll move into audience comments. This is the portion of the meeting where any member of the audience can speak for up to 5 minutes on a non-agenda item. Is there anyone who wishes to speak? All right, well, we know why all of you are here tonight, so we'll move on to unfinished business, of which there is none. So we'll move right into new business. First item, discussion concerning Justabout Road. Mr. Lauer.
So, in your docket, you have a letter from Ms. Feinhauer expressing her concerns with regard to the safety of Justabout Road. She's here tonight, and she wanted to have a discussion with council concerning the condition of the road and what could be done in terms of improving it. So, Mrs. Feinhauer, we'll turn it over to you.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you, council. Thank you. Hello, neighbors and anyone who is here that has driven on Justabout Road and understands some of the situations.
Mrs. Feinhauer, I'm going to encourage you to speak in this direction so the
Okay.
microphone.
I wanted to thank
Oh,
our
no,
people.
no, I understand.
Okay. I contacted our township manager, Mr. Paul Lauer, and Peters Township Council because I'm very concerned about the safety and other issues on our road, which has been referred to by our township as a goat path. I also contacted the state and spoke in length with Mr. Robert Ballantine, who is local to our area. My concerns to council and to Mr. Ballantine included the width of Justabout with no shoulders, inconsistent speed limits and speeding, the absence of yellow lines, potholes and road collapse, heavy traffic due to 3 new housing developments and 1 more being built. These include Tuscany, approximately 24 homes, Tuscany 2, 37 homes, Justabout Farms, 48 homes, and Newcastle with 24 new homes to be built. This is a total of 109 homes and 24 more with a new development. We also have 3 businesses off of Justabout Road: Simply Private Pool Rental, Exodus Renewables, and Justabout Wineries. I realize that this is a state road, but Mr. Ballantine provided me with some good information. Number 1, even though our road is only 17 feet in some areas, he told me he felt the lane width was adequate. But if the township decides to keep building, the township would become responsible for upgrades. Any speed limit signs that are currently posted under 40 miles an hour were done by Peters Township. The state plans line painting yearly, but is unlikely that Justabout Road would be included. The state has a 16.5-foot right-of-way from the middle of the road to cut shoulders. He indicated that this would be happening in the fall of this year. The state has been patching daily in our township. There needs to be some more done, but they are working on that. I personally do not feel that Justabout Road is adequate for the increased number of new housing, businesses, and traffic. Our township has failed the people that live on Justabout Road by not planning for any of these issues that I previously presented prior to allowing these developments to go in. Now, with the help of my son, I would like to show some photos of issues on our road. If everybody would look to their left, please. This photo shows the current speed limit as you turn off of Justabout, off of Beebout onto Justabout. The 30-mile-per-hour speed limit continues until the second stop sign, that's number 2, at the intersection of Justabout and Sienna Trail. When you turn right, the speed limit becomes 35 miles per hour, as you can see, even though there is a sharp turn with low visibility. Number 3 is continuing southeast through the second low visibility turn. The township did erect a 15-mile-per-hour sign. After that turn, the speed limit returns to 35 miles per hour. Number 4, returning on Justabout, traveling northwest, the speed limit is 35 miles an hour. This number 5 photo shows the speed limit of 35 miles per hour around a sharp turn, and way tucked back in the trees there is a hidden driveway sign. There is also a smashed guardrail on that turn, and the road narrows. Number 6 addresses road drainage issues and road collapse on the shoulder. Number 7 shows drainage and pavement issues, and this is on Justabout driving toward Thomas Road. Number 8, this shows private fences on state road right-of-ways, 11 feet from the road center in some cases. So according to the state, they could come in and cut shoulders, however they decided to do it, back 15 to 16 and a half feet on either side of this road. Number 8, this shows number 9, water issues at the entrance of Tuscany 2, which is 9 feet from the center of Justabout Road. Number 10 is also at Tuscany 2, and this is 9 feet from the center of Justabout Road. Number 11, this is traveling northwest again, showing drainage issues and where cars have been run off the road or run off the road due to speed, okay, and created this issue here. Number 12 is a close-up of a ditch with water where cars have run off of the road. Number 13 is in front of 514 Justabout, showing where vehicles have run off of the road, possibly due to traveling too fast with other cars traveling in the opposite direction. Number 14 is a close-up of 514 damage. Number 15 shows more auto tracks just past 514 Justabout Road and closer to 538 Justabout Road. Number 17, the road shows drainage issue in front of 538 Justabout Road. 17 shows a road collapse where water grate is at the bottom of Gardner Lane. And number 18 are some cars that are parked on the road at 202 Justabout, which is the simply private pool rental, but I believe they were only dropping people off, and I do support this pool rental. Other issues, and I don't have pictures of those, include children riding e-bikes fast, kids on scooters at housing developed entrances, and getting out onto Beebout Road from Justabout Road. These are the concerns I have. Somebody is going to get killed on this road, and the township needs to do a better job of planning when they're allowing developments. I just think you have done a terrible injustice to the people off of Justabout Road. Absolutely. Anybody that wants to have a leader?
Okay. Before we go any further on this, Mr. Lauer, Justabout's a state road, right?
That's correct.
So what are our rights as a township as far as repairing or making improvements to Justabout Road?
We don't have authority to work on state roads. And so the work that needs to be done out there is work that needs to be done by by PennDOT.
Well, who sets the speed limit on that road?
You can send requests to PennDOT to have studies done, but ultimately they set the speed limit on that road.
No.
We input some.
Mr. Valentine told me.
Mrs. Beinhauer, just give me a chance. This is the same thing that you had on Venetia Road. What they'll do is they'll do a speed study to determine what the 85th percentile is for speed on that road. Then based upon that, they'll make a determination as to whether or not to approve the request.
So the current speed limits that are out there now, is that how they were established?
I couldn't tell you that. Those have been the speed limits on that road for quite some time.
Do we have any information in-house as to the number of accidents that have occurred on that road?
I can get that for you. That'd be something I can request from the police
Think we can
department.
supply that to
Yeah.
PennDOT?
And this is a 4-digit state route, right?
Yes.
Do you guys, does anyone want to explain to them what that means?
I have no idea.
There's a hierarchy of roads. Route 19 is a 2-digit state route. That means it's a very important road. When you get down to the 4-digit roads, like I think 1017 or 1019 is Justabout Road, that means it's just a lower order road. And naturally, a lower order road is going to get paid attention to a lot less by PennDOT than a higher order road.
And oftentimes in counties, maybe like Indiana, that road would be dirt. Just to put it into perspective,
Right.
like how the state rates roads by the amount of use, like how many cars per day, daily traffic, et cetera, et cetera. So it may have increased, and I'm not saying that you're wrong, but in the grand scheme of things as compared to State Route 19, it's a very small increase. So
I
that's why the
understand
state's responding, that's why the state's responding. to
I
it now, right?
understand that, but the Peters Township had a planning committee and council here have allowed 109 houses to be built off of Justabout with another 24 on the way.
But we don't have a choice, ma'am.
We
If
don't have-
someone brings a plan in and it complies with the ordinances, we can't prevent them from building.
Right.
As long as they comply with the zoning ordinances, our hands are tied.
Yeah.
Who benefits from the increased tax revenue?
Exactly.
No one sitting up here does.
The township does.
The township.
The township
Well,
does.
the
We all
township
have
and the
that.
school district does, but what it also brings with it is a demand for increased services, so there's kind of a balance there. With regard to the entrance to those plans, those are all done with highway occupancy permits that are issued by PennDOT.
Now,
What I will not disagree with Mrs. Beinhauer in is that the road needs attention. I just believe that the attention needs to be paid by the state of Pennsylvania, not the township. We have experience with taking back roads. In fact, at one point, we now have 4.76 miles of road that we have taken back from PennDOT. And
Church being one.
Center Church, Bower Hill, and Brookwood. But in each of those cases, the amount of money we get for doing that each year is $19,000, which comes nowhere near what it costs to maintain those roads. So, if you look at a 15-year life cycle for these roads for that 4.76 miles, in 15 years, you'll get $300,000. To resurface that today would be over $1.4 million. And so, and the problem at Justabout is that what is needed to bring that road up to township specifications
is more than what PennDOT's willing to invest in it. One of the problems on that road is it lacks drainage. And just getting the easements to be able to handle the drainage on that road would be a very difficult task.
So ultimately, PennDOT decides based upon what classification the road is, right? How much attention it's gonna get.
Yes.
Is there a process that we can ask PennDOT? Because I'm guessing when Justabout got that classification, it was probably 50 years ago when there were 6 houses out there, as compared to now when it has.
Yeah, but I'll bet you that classification, we can ask, but I'll bet you that classification number isn't different because where there have been houses built out there, it doesn't match what is East McMurray Road or Venetia Road.
I'm just curious
yeah.
if there's a process by which we
But-
could ask them to look at it.
The thing that we can do, and we have a meeting coming up with Representative Mihalik. We can certainly talk to Representative Mihalik and Senator Bartolotta about getting their attention. Because the one thing that I do know is PennDOT listens to their state reps and their state senators. So that's certainly something we can do.
How long is Justabout Road, do we know, in terms of miles?
2 1/3 miles.
2 1/3 miles.
So you're talking in the $6 to $10 million range to upgrade that road?
Well, my question to Mark was, if we spent our entire road budget on Justabout Road, could we finish it? And his answer was nowhere near finish it. So that's the scale of that project.
Can you tell me why a road is not considered when you're allowing developments to go in? Especially,
That's not permitted under the Pennsylvania Municipal Planning Code. And PennDOT has as long as you can meet certain criteria in terms of site distance and things like that, PennDOT has an obligation to issue the highway occupancy permit.
And council requires PennDOT's approval. PennDOT has to give them the HOP and demonstrate that they're allowing this new plan to come on to Justabout Road. So it's in PennDOT's control, not this board's.
and they're lovely homes, I have no objection to that. My objection is the road cannot handle the amount of traffic, big vehicles, speed down that road, taking out fences in multiple places. I've spoke to several people.
And I don't think, I'm pretty sure with staff over the years, they have reached out to PennDOT to, when they meet with them, to take a look at Justabout. Getting it on their radar is what's hard because it's not our road. This is not a township road. They couldn't pave it if they wanted to. They couldn't improve it if council wanted to. They're not allowed. So I think what the manager indicated to you is that the route to take is through the state process. And our state reps have been at least responsive in other categories with the township. And if they know the council's behind this too, I'm sure, they're gonna push as hard as they can for at least some improvements.
So the state would also be responsible for any traffic study that might need to take place in order to change the current, I apologize.
Speed limits?
No, not the speed limit.
The use.
Yes, the use and the classification of the road.
One second. The one thing I'm going to ask is that if you're going to speak, to do it at the microphones, because the lady who has to take care of doing the minutes will not hear you otherwise.
I'm sorry.
But we can ask that. I'll be honest with you, I don't know how they go about reclassifying.
The only thing I'll say is, I'll give you a couple examples of other 4-digit state routes. East McMurray, Valley Brook, Bebout, and those roads are all significantly better than, in my opinion, Justabout Road. So I think the chances of them reclassifying it are pretty slim, but
We can ask.
that's just the reclassification question. I mean, there's still other.
Sir, I think you wanted to speak.
Yes, I'm sorry.
And if you could write your name and address on this.
Sure. I live at 543 Justabout Road, and some of those pictures that she presented there, where you saw that water, there's every year for the past decade since the development started taking place, water has pooled in front of my driveway and has run down my driveway and flooded my garage every year. I go through this every year. Now, I tried to address this. There was some drainage put next to me, but somewhere has to be, there's a low point. That road is sunk and there's a low point, It's also very dangerous because the whole road is filled with at least 2 to 3 inches of water. And the cars, what I'd at least recommend, if we could get the police to patrol that. They used to patrol it. I've been here since 2009 in this house. Been in Peters Township since 2000. If there's at least, because the traffic there it goes right by my house, is so fast. They're going the speed limit at 35 miles an hour. They're going at least 50 to 60 miles an hour down that, because that's a long straightaway right where I'm at. So it is very dangerous. Fortunately, my kids are grown and gone, so I don't have that problem, but it is a future problem for whoever is gonna, take the house in front of my house. So I would request at least we'd get some sort of police protection, or they were used to draw lines, I think, right outside.
Sit in her driveway.
Yeah, and they were, at least you can get some, maybe we can get some revenue out of that. So, thank you.
Anyone else want to speak on this issue?
Just to let them know, so it looks like they're doing something.
Would I just give you my name and address?
You can go to the other one.
Yes, name and address.
My name's Ron Toomey. I'm 563 Justabout. I'm actually right down the road from him. I've been there about 5 years. I am not the type of person that would call the police even on kids. I'm pretty lenient in that, but there have been at least 2 instances that I've been in my front yard where a car, usually a young kid, has come past the house, and I'm not kidding you, by the time they have to be going at least 80 miles per hour. I have seen kids, by the time I see them and turn my head, they're gone. That's how fast they can go in that straightaway. And I don't know if they can put a slow down sign, something, but it's, there's actually twice that I did call the police because it was that serious. It was scary, honestly.
And what are we allowed to do in terms of traffic calming? Are we allowed to do any traffic calming on that road because it's a state road?
It's a state road.
Can't- Traffic calming.
Calming, like speed humps or something.
Does this happen at any particular time of day, or is it?
I would say most people speed, but occasionally there is someone who, they turn that first stop sign where you stay to the right, they are just pedal to the metal, and they can go for quite a while until they have to.
The drag race.
Yeah. And another thing too is, driving home, a lot of the times I'll come from the other end of Justabout, and cars will drive in the middle of the road because there's no shoulders. So there's multiple times where I have had to literally pull over and almost stop my vehicle to let the car pass. So it's pretty
We know the
frustrating.
speeding's bad on that road, and there's one phone pole there, I think, that's been knocked out 3 times in the last 2 years.
So, Paul, what are our options to request maybe a little more police supervision
Oh,
of the road?
I'll take care of that tomorrow.
I've called several times and I've gotten no reply.
Right. You'll get response tomorrow.
Okay. My dad lived there his whole, I took my parents' house and I laughed now because I said my dad would be
But
like.
if you're gonna speak, you need to speak
Oh,
from the
okay.
microphone.
Well, no, I'm good.
Don't want to be on television, huh?
Yeah.
Scott Beinhauer, 522 Justabout Road. I just want to make one comment that referenced the photograph in front of 538. You saw the drainage problem with the water there. That's after a minor rainfall. After a huge rainfall, that water extends clear across Justabout Road, and I think that affects the gentleman, your house there. And what it does to the property there at 538, someone's going to come through their hydroplane, go into a house. It's going to be bad.
PennDOT has crews that specifically deal with those type of things. So if you call 1-800-FIX-ROAD, they give that to their maintenance folks. And I just speak from experience. I work for PennDOT in Indiana County, and they have a summer crew that's all they do. Now, sometimes you get the unfortunate end, which is they direct all the drainage onto your property, and then they give you a piece of paper that says, sorry, here's the statute that allows us to do that, and then you have a big ditch in your front yard. So but that is one of the ways that you can get that on there.
Yeah. It's the problem that's out on Justabout, though, and again, it's a major problem in that there really isn't a system out there to handle the drainage of the road, of the water off the road.
My other question to council would be, if the current speed limits were erected by the township, why can't they be changed by the township?
Well, because it's a state road and it requires the approval of PennDOT to do that. What the township can do is request that the speed limit be changed, but I can't guarantee you that PennDOT will approve that. And there's no problem. If council wants, we can make that request.
And there's always a chance they increase the speed limit, too, right?
That's always one of the fears. I find it hard to believe on that road, though.
No.
No, there's a risk, right?
Paul, didn't we ask them to decrease the speed limit on Bebot, right where Ronnie lives, folks? And wasn't that like a couple years ago? And they told us no. They ran the
They
test
do
and they
the
said
speed
no.
check, and if depending on what the 85th percentile of the speed is, that's where they'll set it.
Yeah.
Well, Thomas Road is only 35 mile an hour. And Justabout Road, it does not compare at all with Thomas Road. And, you know, something needs to happen. You represent us. You represent all of us in here. And we need your assistance to make
I mean, we can
changes.
We can certainly ask the state to take a look, but I mean, we'll tell you, I mean, there's a chance they'll look at it and they'll increase it.
No, I would find that hard to believe.
But if they do, then our hands are tied at that point, because once we put it on their radar and they run the tests and they conclude if the 85th percentile speed puts it at 40 miles an hour, then they'll put it at 40 miles an hour.
So will it take a death
Can
of
I
a
suggest
child
this?
or a
But what
person?
we can do is to have traffic planning and design go out and get us speeds on that road so that we have some idea of what's happening out there before we make a request, so we don't get a surprise.
Can you also reach out to, like you mentioned, Senator Bartolotta and Representative Mihalik and remind them that they didn't hesitate to set a meeting to look at realigning Bebout and Benicia Road to accommodate a development? You were at the meeting, Paul, you were talking
Yeah,
about.
I know exactly what
I
you're
don't
talking
want to
about.
see someone get killed.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
then
none
there's
of
going
us
to be a
do.
humongous lawsuit.
Do you want me to have traffic planning and design go out and do that?
Yes,
Absolutely.
Okay.
let's do that.
I'll just have one more comment about the speed. I think the only way to address the speeding situation is a police presence. Because half the drivers on that road anymore are young kids, whether they're going to school, it's summertime now, so there's going to be more traffic on that road. They just look at a speed limit sign and chuckle. That's all they do.
Yeah, I think some of them honestly go fast, particularly in the streets where we have the digital ones. You know, they see if they can go fast enough to make
It's a
the
game.
lights blink. You know, when you go past the 10 miles over or whatever it is, it causes the lights to blink. Anyone else have a comment on this?
My name is John Corder. I live at, excuse me, 538 Justabout. The spot on the road where the huge puddle forms every time it rains. It was certainly going across the road Saturday afternoon when we got that thunderstorm, and then it continues. It doesn't subside for 2 or 3 hours after the rain stops, because it's all coming off that hill behind my house. There is a storm drain within 30 feet of where that water pools. And at one point, I've lived in my house since 1980. And at one point, PennDOT put a French drain on the side of the road where that water pools from the edge of my driveway out to the storm drain. Over the years, it sort of got built up with dirt, cinders, whatever. The water takes a long time to settle. There is a drain pipe, I think it's 4-inch perforated pipe under the road there. They put the fabric on it, they put the big stones in. But this, we're probably talking about 1990 when they did that. And it's not serving any purpose, no. With regard to the speeding, I just want to say that it's not a new issue. As I said, I've lived there since 1980. I started corresponding in 2016 with Ryan Janowski. I don't know if he's even here anymore.
Brian's no longer here. He's the manager of Hampton Township.
But I went around the neighborhood, and a lot of the people, including a number of the ones that spoke tonight, signed a petition, and I included it with a letter I sent to him at the time. He kind of, deferred things again, same thing we're hearing tonight, it's a state road, and we'll have the police look at it, and they did. At times, police have parked out there, they had those vast car strips, and they would monitor, and it has an impact. But it seems to have gone by the boards now. In a letter in 2020, I communicated to him the fact that the state had tarred and shipped the road, and the VASCAR lines had disappeared and had been gone for over a year. Not too long later, they came out and they put new ones down. But I haven't, since then, and this is probably 2 or 3 years, I've never seen a police car. They used to sit, as Sandy Short was saying, in the driveway going up to mine hours. That's a perfect spot. They can sort of back off the road, monitor those strips. Even if they go up there and fill out a report, just people going past seeing the police car, I think, has an impact in the future. Next time they come down the road, they're going to think twice. I think when they first put the strips on the road, that had an impact for a while, but then once everybody realizes they're just there for show, then that's the end of it. One other thing I wanted to state is that I'm not sure I fully understood. You said some state roads have been pulled back into the township as township roads.
Yes, correct.
But that's not an option for Justabout because it would be too expensive.
It'd be way too expensive.
So based on that, I feel like we're getting shortchanged. We don't get a discount on our Peters Township municipal tax because you don't have to do anything on our road. That doesn't seem right. Maybe somebody should think about that. And lastly, when you compare Justabout to Bower Hill up above, I realize there's a school on Bower Hill that is in session 180 days a year or whatever. But you go down that road, they have flashing signs, they have speed limit signs, they have speed humps. Even when you get way down in the end by Venetia Road, they got speed humps. That part of the road is no more densely populated than the area we're talking about, the 500 block and thereabouts. So I don't know, it just seems disproportionate to me. And
Well, and again, we can't put the speed humps on Justabout because it's not a township road, whereas Bower Hill is.
I know, but there are those signs, even though you say the kids mock them, the radar signs that slow down. I mean,
Can we put those up?
I'm trying to think, we went,
I mean, Bower Hill is what he's referring to. They're
well, they're on
on
Bower
Bower
Hill.
Hill.
There aren't-
The question
aren't there
is, can we
some on
put
some
them-
state roads too? There's-
I don't know. I
do
don't
you have
know.
any on Venetia Road?
I don't know that.
You know what?
How about the one on Thomas Road? We put that there, right? I don't know if there's one there now. There was
But-
one.
There was.
But you know what, let me check. I would think we'd be able to do that because it's not an enforcement sign. I'll check on that, and if we can, we will.
All right.
Well, the township used to have a tow-behind trailer,
Yeah,
a big
we-
thing.
Yeah, we don't have that anymore. No.
They parked that in front of my house occasionally, and all that stuff has a little bit of an impact, I think. But now they're going to the standalone signs. If they could park the trailer in front, it seems like you could put a township radar sign.
All right, thanks, sir. Okay, so Paul, you'll reach out to
Yeah.
Representative Mihalik and Senator Bartolotta and see if we
Yes.
can get this on PennDOT's radar.
Yes.
I'd get the traffic counts first, and I'd find out how many accidents have been there.
Okay.
Because I would just be able to, if you're there, you might only get them for one time. I would want to show them all this before.
Okay. We can do that.
Do you mind if I explain how we pay for our roads real fast for anyone that would like? So the average person in Pennsylvania pays $250 a year to drive on roads through your gas taxes. So that is what goes into PennDOT's coffers. They split that up, pieces of pie, to the rest of the state through these traffic counts, and we get a portion of that called the liquid fuels tax, right? So, but Paul, correct me if I'm wrong, the money that we get from the state pays for 20% of our road repairs, or our road paving program, say 1 out of every 5 miles.
Maybe.
It's about 40%.
Yeah.
So 40%. So that means the remainder of the maintenance that we do on our roads doesn't come from your fuel taxes. It comes from the taxes that you pay to us. So even the money that PennDOT, and that's separate from the state, right? So the state knows which roads we own and which roads they own, and they cut it up accordingly. So they only give us 40% of what we need to maintain our roads, and then we cover the rest with our local taxes. So think about all those folks that are talking about affordability and cutting your gas taxes. If we stopped paying gas tax, we would have no money, and that would get made up by the remainder of our budget here, and then other things would not get that money. So that, when you think about the grand scheme of things on how much you pay, say, school taxes versus road taxes and what you get, it's just a very interesting point that I think most people don't know, and that we have to cover the rest already, and we do by a factor of 2 or 3. Now, I don't know if that helps you like understand how we get to where we are, and it's not that we don't want to help you, it's just what the statutes say. Like if this was a township road, there are things we could do. But think about the state of where we're at and how much you're paying in every year and what it is. I don't know if that's helpful, but if you want to talk more about transportation funding, I'd be more than willing to explain to you more later. I'm not saying that those things can't be done, it's just represents how we got to where we are.
And we appreciate your presentation, you did a
Yeah.
really nice job. We're gonna make sure we share that with PennDOT and anybody else, so with the photographs, so thank you for that.
I don't think there's a council person here that would agree with all the representation that you made. We understand that.
Hi, I'm Rick Beinhardt, or better half.
He's a Brady man.
I've worked with council over the years many, many times. Mr. Lewis is my old friend. A lot of you I don't know, but I've known him for many years, and he's known me, and we worked through any situation that we had. I hear everybody say, oh, it's going to cost so much money. Do you think it's going to cost any less 5 years from now? If you avoid it today, how are you going to address it tomorrow? You have got to realize that it's not going to get better. It's only going to get worse. So we've got to get our thinking caps on and figure how are we going to solve this. Putting it off doesn't do it. And saying it costs too much money doesn't do it. That's not the answer to the question. Okay, this council has a lot of smart people on it. Okay, and everybody get their thinking cap on and figure out what we can do, because if we don't do anything, imagine how bad it's going to be in 5 years, 10 years, with the deterioration of everything that's happening. Have to come up with a way. Mr. Lauer, when you were addressing in the program there, I don't know what the reason was. I'm getting too old to remember a lot of things, but when Teepee Road, for example, okay, that's just an example. You assessed the people on Teepee Road, and when they put a new sewer down on Justabout, they assessed us all. Everybody had to pay, okay? If you didn't have the money now, you could finance it just like they're doing now. But there was a plan made. It didn't, we're not saying get the money tomorrow, but if you don't make the plan, you're never gonna get it done. It's not gonna get fixed. How are you gonna change the nature of the situation? That's my question to you. I don't know, unless you address it now. You're just putting it off an inevitable that's not gonna get any better.
Thank you, sir.
All right, before we move on, anybody else want to speak about this issue? All right, so we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is authorization to proceed with the design and bid.
To see if you want to clean out. Maybe we might want to stay for the whole meeting. Does everybody want to leave? We could take a little break if you want to leave without disrupting the rest of the meeting.
All right, so move on, now we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is authorization to proceed with the design and bidding of improvements to Teepee Road.
So on February 9th, Peters Township Council authorized the township manager to draft and circulate a road improvement agreement to all the property owners on Teepee Drive for the purpose of determining whether or not there was interest in having the township move ahead with improvements on the front portion of Teepee Drive, and that there would be assessments that would be applied to cover the cost of those improvements. What the agreement provides for is a 3-year payment schedule, and also with 6% interest on that amount. When a property owner chooses to pay over time, the assessment will be secured by a lien against the property. The agreement was sent out to all 13 property owners on this portion of Teepee Drive. For the project to be eligible to move forward, the township had to receive at least 50% of the property owners, approval from 50% of the property owners, as well as 50% of the frontage on the road. The township received back 8 of 13 signed agreements, which represents 61.5%, and the agreements cover 72% of the frontage. So in your docket is this table. The ones in red are individuals who have indicated that they are interested in pursuing this. Those in black are individuals that have not signed the agreement. To kind of show that visually, all the ones circled in red are the individuals who have signed the agreement. Those that are in white on Teepee Drive have not.
Paul, is that entire road need to be, I mean, it's not paved now?
No,
Some
well,
of it.
1 second, guys. So the front end of it, where it says Teepee Road, is gravel. The back end of it, when it was put into township specifications, but it's still a private road. So it's got a 50-foot right-of-way and 24-foot cartway.
Is it paved?
Yes, it's a township
So,
specification.
If it's a private road, how can we force property owners on a private road to contribute? Some of those were 9,000, some of them were 12,000 to improve it to make it a public road. I mean, how do we impose the majority's will on the people who have private property rights?
I can tell you, every private road that's been made public has been done under this process provided for in the township's ordinances, and I think it reflects what's in state law.
They're essentially petitioning council with those percentages to say, we want you to take this over, we want to improve it, and then you'll maintain it going forward. There's a value there, and I get it. It's a lot of money.
I'm sure it probably improves the value of your property, but I just don't understand, that. I mean, I think if you bought a private lot on a private road, and you don't want to spend $12,000 to have it improved, then, that to me doesn't seem fair.
Yeah, I agree with you, Frank. I don't see putting a lien on a person's property for not signing this. I'm not in favor of that at all.
Well, it'd be against anybody who wants to do the payment plan too, I believe. Is that how we structured it?
Yeah, but, and again, every private road that has been taken over, I don't think there's ever been one where everybody has signed the agreement.
Well, but that's
But
what our-
everyone has been assessed.
And that's what our ordinance provides for, right? If
Right.
someone brings
I
the
think that's what
petition and
law
and more than 50% of the people
right.
on the street want it opened, I mean, these residents have complied with the ordinance.
I tend to agree with these gentlemen here, and when this first came up, I disagreed with doing it. But for context here, is there anyone in this room that is on this list? Okay, so I'm assuming if you're opposed, you're gonna speak.
Depends on your answer.
No, I just want to know, because while I agree that I don't think we should compel people, everyone on this list has been informed in multiple ways and told when they should come and speak in opposition to that. And I guess my hope is that if you are in opposition, that you're here to speak, because if there's no one here in opposition, I'm not sure that they're really opposed, I guess is my question.
It would, the whole process starts out with a survey that is done, and people indicate whether they would like to at least look at this possibility. It's followed up by the engineer doing a cost estimate, which is the basis upon which an agreement is drafted and circulated. And individuals are asked to respond to that, and if they're interested in moving forward, to execute that agreement. And then there are individuals who have chosen not to execute that agreement.
So those people that have not executed it,
It's right there, the ones in black.
yeah, no, that's, yeah. Have you guys actually had any conversations with them at all to understand what the reasoning was?
I had a conversation with a few people before the agreement was due to be signed, so to say I had conversations with the people that didn't sign the agreement would be 100% correct, because it was before the agreement was due, but I've talked to some people that were in opposition to it, mainly because of cost. You know, it's just, it's not cheap. It never is to improve a road.
All right, you raised your hand, sir. You want to come up?
But again, Mr. Feigl, that's the whole purpose of this portion of this process, is to get people here to speak in favor.
This definitely, the ordinance is authorized under the planning code, municipal planning code.
Yeah, this process is, under the Road Act, is in there. No, I don't believe you have to vote yes or, I mean, you can vote the way you want. I don't think the statute
But
drives you.
that's the way the state envisioned that it would.
Yeah, that they're gonna bring it to your attention, that people, a certain, as Paul went over, a certain percentage of people have to meet the threshold before we can bring it to you. And you decide whether bringing it up to our specification. And again, the home run for the people is that now it's your problem, not theirs, for ongoing maintenance, salting the roads, clearing the roads, things like that. That's why usually people want it. But, sir, go ahead.
In
Tell
those
the-
cases have gone, this is a quick story, as Mr. Lauer may remember, my old neighborhood, Meadow Street and McNary Street, back in the 70s, when the residents of that town, those streets petitioned the township, it was the same thing. You know, it was barely 60%, I think, that, voted for it, and the township ended up taking the roads over. And I think it actually went to the state Supreme Court, if I remember correctly, in the state Supreme Court. That was before your time. The only reason I know about it is because I used to listen to my neighbors tell me about that back when I was a young kid. But, it was the same situation where 40% of the people didn't want it, and ultimately the court said it was okay. But go ahead, sir.
Thanks for having me. My name is Ziad. I live on 209 Teepee Road along with a couple of my neighbors. I just want to point out a few things. 201 is vacant, so we couldn't get their vote to begin with.
So are you in favor or against?
In favor,
Okay.
yes. Marcinek, I talked to him personally. He never got his letter in time, so he never submitted it. He was in favor for it. The only thing he asked me for, if the township can help us with some kind of payment in terms of like contributing to the actual cost of it. And in terms of Kentros, he would love to be here today, but obviously they're an elder gentleman and his wife. And that's part of the reason why we want to pave this road, is we do have elderly people on the street, we have kids on the street. It's more of a safety reason more than anything else. Potholes, if you have an ambulance coming, it's not gonna make it. Fire trucks, they're not gonna make the fire hydrant. So it's not just for, what's the word I'm looking for?
Not for aesthetics, right?
Exactly,
For
yeah,
safety,
it's
yeah.
safety. 230, stormwater drips all over their house when it storms a lot, so I think that was part of the plan, is to add another storm drain in there. So it is, we are trying to improve the road for good reasons, not just for aesthetic reasons.
Now, is there anyone here who lives there who's against this? Want to come up and tell us why?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Simon.
Where do you live? What's the number?
I own 229 yet. My son lives there. He's here tonight. My other son owns 231.
Okay.
Can you put the map up, just so we see where those houses are? Oh, there, the addresses aren't there.
Yeah, no,
We are at the very beginning of the road.
They're at the very, yeah.
My grandparents bought 225, the Kentro's house. Bought that house back in the 1930s, about 1931.
Wow.
That house and the house that all that property that just got the houses built on, that was the only two houses there on Teepee Road at that time. And as they built in between, now it was my parents, my uncle, and then 231 was a new neighbor. And there was never a problem on that road, as long as the Barneys owned all that property at the end. But she aged out, and I think she's passed away now. Her daughter sold it. So Mr. McLaughlin came, contractor, and he had a meeting with all of us that lived up there, or that owned property up there. And he was talking about, at that time, about, you know, widening the road, paving the road, having the township take it over. And those of us at this end were not in favor of it because we've never had a problem up until now with the traffic. It's not that awfully long of a road, and it's all straight and flat. You can see if somebody's coming, and we just pull over next to a driveway and let them pass. My father had ambulances up there several times when he was still alive, and there was never a problem getting the ambulance in and out. As far as paving or snow removal, now we used to go together, everybody pitch in for, you know, buy their property, their frontage, to have gravel brought in. The biggest problem is everybody wants to go too fast. And so as soon as we get the road fixed again, then they're speeding more and the gravel just all flies out. Now I know that I can't stop this, but I just want you to know that we're really against it, and partly because we told Mr. McLaughlin at the very beginning, before he ever started building, that we were not in favor of having the township take over the road. There's never been a problem up there. We like it being a private road. We like the non-interference. And we said, you know, if you, for one thing, 231, the house is fairly close to the road. It's not set back as far as some of them. And 225, even though they signed the papers, they're close to the road too. So if they come and widen and take, you know, 5-6 feet off of each frontage, it's gonna make a big difference on the people's yards. Other than that, the thing is, we're not in the income bracket of the people in the new houses. And I admit that. And to pay for like the portions on that end with my 2 younger sons is gonna be a problem. So that's all. I just want you to know that I'm not for it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mark, what percentage of ownership do we have unaccounted for, people you never received a response from?
Well, it would be
30-something.
39.5? Is that correct, Paul? Is that, am I
Yeah.
doing the math?
No, I think you're doing. No, it's 38.5.
Oh, is it? Okay.
So I think we should find out
You're
what
right,
the.
38.5.
I think we should find out what that 38.5 wants to do before we do anything on this. I don't know how the rest of you feel about it, but I would like to know how everyone on the street feels about it before we vote this one way or the other. So I'll make a motion that we table this pending us receiving responses from the other 38.5% of the ownership on the street.
Just so you know, you will not get an answer back from,
What's the one?
from 201 Teepee. That house is vacant. We're having a difficult time with that home right now. And
Well, who owns
so-
it? Somebody's got to own it.
Yes.
King.
Mrs.
It's
King.
King,
owns it.
vacant.
Well,
It's been vacant for some time.
is that
But we can
the
get.
taxes being paid on it?
Yes,
So somebody.
Well, up to this point, they have been,
Gotta be able to find her.
Yeah, there have to be a
But-
tax address. to
but
say.
we can check with the others and get back to
I
you.
don't think it'd
The
be-
other thing about this that I just want to be, everybody to be clear about, by moving ahead, you're not saying that we're paving this. All you're doing is authorizing the next step, which is to do surveying that would be needed and to allow the engineer to design it. And then at that point, you would go out and bid this project and we would have another stop point. And that would be, because then we would know what the actual cost was, and council would make a decision about whether or not to award a bid. Everybody on the street would get another chance to weigh in as to whether or not they're still interested in it. If it dips again, if by some chance it dips below 50% or it dip, for either the number of homes or the front footage, then we don't move ahead with the project.
My only issue with that, Paul, is that we'd be spending this money, our money,
Correct.
and possibly not moving forward, because, I mean, $10,000 of a one-time payment for someone is a significant burden, right? I mean, in today's tax day and age, that's, $16,000 in income, I mean, we pay so much in school taxes and
The
everything
property
else.
becomes lien, and that payment necessarily would have to be paid before the house got sold.
Right, I mean, and the other
Yes.
argument is that perhaps your house is worth more now because you're on a township road as
Yeah.
opposed to a private road, and you don't have the road maintenance obligations anymore.
So do the people know that that is an option? Because I think payment was one of the concerns. Do they know that that can just be deferred in perpetuity?
Yeah, but I'll be honest with you, I don't think people want to do that. It's a lien against their property that has implications. And there is 6% interest that's being applied to that. And so that adds up after a while. And so I think the people ought to try to see whether or not they can proceed on the basis that you can actually make the payment schedule. But what you're saying is correct. If it doesn't get paid, it just sits there. The township doesn't execute on the lien. It collects the lien when the property sells.
Well, but to quote Mr. Beinhardt, it's not gonna get any cheaper if we're gonna do this. So I think maybe we should try to get some input from the people we have not.
Okay, we can do that.
So we
Because
have,
I agree, I don't wanna spend money
Okay.
doing engineering costs if the ultimate
Yeah.
end result is gonna be nothing.
because here's the thing,
Sure.
And you are?
My name's Matt Pasquinelli, 214. So only one person hasn't responded, all right, and we followed everything
Oh, okay.
that you're supposed to do. It's in your township ordinance. There will be no reason to vote it down. We're just moving on to the next phase. How can you vote it down if we follow?
Reasons of course they voted down, though. So I appreciate you might disagree with them, but we've kind of given you, I think, our opinion as of now.
All right, so we follow the ordinances, right?
Well, but they're not telling you no, they're telling me to go out and get additional information. Let me get the additional information, I'll
They were
present to
leaning
council.
against stopping.
And that may well be the decision they make, because that's why this process has the steps that it does. It's ultimately a council decision to whether to move ahead with it.
and I just think we should know what everyone on the road feels about it before we vote.
Only one person hasn't responded,
Well,
and
that's
they're
one-
not there.
That's one taxpayer. Somebody's gotta be there paying, obviously the
I
house
don't
is.
know if anyone's paying the taxes, actually. Is anyone paying the taxes?
Can we find that out?
I can find that out.
They are not.
But wait, he's saying only one hasn't responded, that's in their assessment, but not what you guys have received.
Does this person, this
There's five-
King,
there's
own the
five.
38.5%?
There's 5 black names up there.
Right.
That's the 5 that we haven't gotten a response
Okay.
from. King is vacant, so we're down to 4.
Okay. That's what I thought you said at the
The Boltons have spoken
beginning.
tonight, they own 2 property owners, so we're down to 2.
And I think they represented 227 you spoke to, but we haven't spoken to them.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we can do that before the next meeting, that's
Yeah,
not a
that's
problem.
fine. So I'll renew my motion to table this to the next meeting.
I'll second.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. 6-0, Mr. Lauer. Next item, resolution amending the Peters Township Personnel Manual related to the job description for foreman in the Public Works Department.
So when fully staffed, the Public Works Department consists of 10 laborers, 8 light equipment operators, a mechanic, and 3 working foremen, as well as the Public Works Director. The department hasn't been fully staffed for over 2 years. One of the critical positions that we have not been able to fill is that of working foreman. What has happened is that the individual had that position, had suffered from a debilitating injury away from work. He was gone for a year. We've now been 7 months trying to backfill that position. And at this point, what we're fairly convinced is our problem is that our pay range for this position is inadequate to be able to get a qualified applicant. So what we looked at is both the external alignment and the internal alignment for the position. As you can see, the current midpoint for this position for Peters Township is $32.64. The current average that we're paying the 2 other people that have this position is $36.21, and where we'd like to be able to move to is $37.88.
So how much would this cost us over the course of a year?
It's probably about $10,000.
How did you arrive at 3788?
We have, jobs are assigned to pay grades, and what we are talking about doing is moving the Public Works foreman from pay grade 8 to pay grade 7, which would make him the equivalent of the building inspector. I think it falls in line. It's the first level before professional positions like the library director and the assistant engineer, and it sits above positions like the assistant library director and the projects coordinator. So I think it's in the right band, and that's how we end up there. So you have, this is the pay range for all positions. This position is currently an 8, and what we're suggesting is to move it to a 7.
Okay, so it's already an established number of a 7.
Yes,
Just saying that-
yes. So, but like I said, it's been a real problem, and it's really created a hardship for the Public Works Director in terms of having people out to supervise crews. So it's, and the way you would go about doing this is to amend the job description, which includes a reference to the pay grade. So it's my recommendation that council approve resolution 6-126, amending the job description for the position of Public Works foreman.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. 6-0, Mr. Lauer. Next item, authorization to sell a 2014 International 7400.
We talked about this already, didn't we?
This is another truck, but yes, its value's over $20,000, and it's my recommendation that.
I'll make a motion that we authorize the sale of the 2014 Ford F-550 dump truck utilizing a competitive sales process.
Is it a Ford or an International?
It's international.
It's an international.
I thought it said Ford, or
It
says
did,
Ford on it.
that's my mistake. If you read Jared's, if you read Jared's.
And we're
memo,
never
it's
gonna need
international.
this truck for anything.
No.
We don't wanna keep it for a while.
So you're moving to authorize the sale of the International?
Yeah, international. It says Ford in here, but.
All right, we got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. 6-0, Mr. Lauer. Next item, discussion of the lease agreement between Peters Township and Thomas A. Robinson Family Partnership related to the property located at 330 Valley Brook Road.
So this is the property located at, on Valley Brook Road that has been leased to Mr. Robinson. In your docket is a copy of the lease agreement. You know, the principal features of the lease agreement is that in exchange for being able to use the area that surrounds the stormwater pond, which is that area in green there, for the purposes of a concession stand, we would receive a percentage of the receipts. I think it's 2%. In addition to that, he would transfer to us a parcel that was located here. He has transferred this parcel to us. Given that it is under development right now for townhouses, where the area that's disturbed, this will never be used as a concession stand. So the question is, what does council want to do? As you are well aware, what Mr. Robinson would like to do is to pay the township the market value for this piece of property to place a stormwater pond on the parcel that he has deeded to us and extend the row of townhouses. But council looked at that before and was not interested in that.
Remind me, what does that lease say with regard to our abilities to terminate it? I should remember, it's been that long.
It's a long one, if I remember. And
Yeah.
remember, he's also taking care of the detention pond per
Right.
the agreement. Because I think the thought was, when we put this out for a bid too, so this wasn't, the township bid this project.
But again, if you take if somehow you take the property back, I don't know what happens to the property that we received. And all you do is get the obligation of maintaining the stormwater pond. Right now, the obligation to maintain the pond is his.
Yeah, I think the idea was, if it didn't get built, we got the land and the stormwater pond was being maintained.
Right.
And is the pond being maintained to like, satisfactory levels?
Not right now, it isn't, because of the construction that's occurring there and all the activity around it. But when that's done, I believe that it will be.
And I think he has in the
I think that was
past.
part of the plan, wasn't it? Did he
What's
have
that?
to- I think it was part of the plan when they were done building, they had to.
Well, again, when the lease was done, the idea was to do improvements around the pond. That's why you see, like, it looks like there's a gravel road that's been installed here. That was all done with the idea that there was gonna be a concession stand in here. That never existed before
And
he was done. But when this construction here gets done, our expectation is that this pond will, and I think it's gonna be his expectation, because these people, I think, are gonna have a real hard time living with the disturbance that's occurred over here.
And remember, we put this out specifically for what was bid specifically. I'm not sure we can just turn it over and say, now you can do this, because it's our property, or was
Well, I
our
think we'd
property.
have to offer it up to the
Yes.
public, wouldn't we?
Yes.
Yes.
That's why I said their idea when we met with them, we met with them
Right.
months ago, but they understand their legal shortfalls here, I believe. I think they understand.
Yes.
A few.
So, the upkeep of the retention pond, that's not contingent upon, I mean, the way I'm reading it here is, that's just a black and white issue. It needs to be
Needs to be maintained.
maintained. You're saying it's not being maintained, so obviously he's not keeping up with his end of the agreement. Does that?
But
I
I'm
know
gonna
he-
defer to Mark. I mean,
Yeah.
does the pond work as it's designed?
I think it does. I mean, I
You
know
think
when
it
he,
does, or, I mean, it's-
when we initially signed that lease agreement, he went in and it was pretty overgrown with some vegetation, so I know he cut it down at least once or twice, but it doesn't look like he's cut it in a while.
Well, maybe we need to get his attention, ask him to clean it up a little bit. It still doesn't address the issue of what we're gonna do with this lease.
Yeah, and again, the idea was, back in the day, if he didn't do what he was going to do, the township was satisfied that it just sit there, in its regular old township open space form.
But what about the fact that he gave us the lot?
Well, and there's no prohibition for him building what he's agreed to build. He has the right to do that.
No, he's saying,
Yeah,
he
that
gave
lo-
us this parcel of land. If in fact you terminate the lease, what happens to this parcel of land?
Well, and I guess the reason would be we'd have to think about why terminate the lease, right? If he doesn't do what he's supposed to do, it was no different than just open space anyway. Just will sit there. It's not like we're out there bidding it for, profit.
Well, and it's not as if people are gonna be lining up to buy it either. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah, even if we wanted to sell it.
Right.
This was an idea that the prior council, if you recall, wanted this coffee shop off the trail, and that's why they put it out for bid for this purpose only at the time.
And
Is
this
there
the
anything in
20
that deed connecting that 2.5 acres to the lease? Like, would we have to do anything if we terminated the lease? Could we just keep it and say, so sorry, there's no?
Well, it's like, again, I'd have to go back and look at it. I think he's clearly not done what he wanted to do under the lease. But is there a reason to officially terminate the lease when it's just gonna sit there and not affect us no matter what we do? He,
Might mutually be agreeable to terminate.
yeah, he might, but again, the only obligation he's giving back to us would be the maintenance of that pond.
So what does that roughly cost a year? Do you have any idea?
It's not that much. Because we go in and mow the ponds for the most part, and then so many years goes by and we take the silt out of the ponds. This pond's a little bit different because it was one of the earliest ponds that was done. It actually has a
It has
channel.
2 concrete low-flow channels in the bottom of it, so it doesn't really silt in. Really, vegetation maintenance is the only thing
Yeah.
you do. Put taking a brush hog in there twice a year to cut it.
And it's a 25-year lease that began in 2020.
I forget when it started. 2019. And again, if we're going to terminate, we would only do so, in my mind, that we want to do something else with the property. Otherwise, it was sitting like this before we entered into this lease for that specific purpose.
So if we let it continue, we get a benefit in that we don't have to maintain that.
Right, and there's no
Potential.
challenge that he gave us that property, the other piece. He wants, again, the whole question before you is he wants to do something different with this than the lease requires. That's the only reason we're looking at this.
Well, I don't think he can. I mean, based on what he wants to do, we would have to sell the other piece to him, and we'd have to put it out for public bid.
And you've said no to that.
Yeah.
And the reason why this is back on is that you've asked to be able to have a discussion with regard to the lease and what we should be doing.
So I guess there's really no tangible benefit to us holding on to this ground, really. I mean, we're never gonna realize any gain from it. I'm not saying that Mr. Robinson should get it, but maybe we ought to look into putting it up for sale and seeing if somebody would have any interest
You
in it.
mean if the lot that he gave us?
Yeah, that piece there.
Doesn't that attach to that parking
Well-
lot at,
The one he gave us back, or he
Yeah.
switched with us?
Yeah.
the one that's
The
above?
only way this property becomes of any value is if this pond moves over
Right.
here.
No, I'm talking about where you are now.
This?
We wouldn't, you're not saying get rid of that?
No.
Oh, okay.
Frank, is that what you're saying again?
No, I'm saying get rid of the other piece.
And
Get rid of that.
And again, the only way you can do that is to move the pond over here.
No, the pond is
Right.
like the round thing with the track around.
Yeah, but how can you sell that if it's
Our piece is above it.
maintain it?
The piece he gave us.
Right,
above
the
it.
other-
Oh, if we move the pond, yeah, right.
You're right.
Right, because right now,
And we-
you've got a piece, you got that pond there and a piece next to it that's got no value, right? And if you move the pond over, maybe somebody would pay you some for that piece and put it on.
We
the tax
talked-
list.
Doesn't
Well-
that 2.5 acre
And that-
lot or whatever it is, isn't that the ass end of the parking lot up there near the bridge?
No,
There's another parcel besides that?
it doesn't go over that far, I don't think.
I thought
But-
maybe it would
but
be good
this-
if we could use it for.
But Mr. Kozer, this is exactly what was proposed by Mr. Robinson, was to give, and again, we would have to structure this because it'd have to go out to bid, but to pay the market value for this piece of property.
Wouldn't that constitute an amendment to his plan of development there?
Well, and that's what he was talking about doing. He wanted to pay for this, install the pond over here, and then what would happen is they would extend that townhouse development.
And
That's what he had proposed.
And I vaguely remember telling his counsel, I think he'd have to vacate that lease with us to put it out for bid, because
Yes.
who's gonna buy it subject to his
Right.
lease?
Right.
You're
Yeah,
stuck with
exactly
it.
right.
So I think they were wrestling. I said, we're not gonna give you an unfair bid advantage with
Right.
this lease.
Yeah, and the downside is would, from his perspective, but from our perspective, I don't think it makes any difference. Somebody else could come in there, extend the private street that's there and build townhouses or a home. That'd be,
So the lease is for the lease is for the parcel where the concession stand was supposed to go, that's never gonna go there,
Mhm.
2.5% of gross revenue.
Well, it could, I mean, he could still come in tomorrow if he wants.
it'll never happen.
Yeah. But then, and then remember, it was the township that wanted it. I mean, we the one asked for proposals for
All right,
it.
so what do we want to do here, guys?
I would have no problem going back to him and Mr. Robinson, asking him if he'll agree to terminate the lease, if we can put the property up for bid. Because right now, it's just sitting there, it's not doing us any good.
Yeah, and I told him that would be the
And if he's the prevailing
repercussions.
bidder, not to interrupt John, if he's the prevailing bidder, fine, you know?
Yeah.
At least then the property's
Well,
getting used.
and, you know, when we talk,
Does the property have to be developed?
It's got no value. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean,
and when we,
why are we holding on to it?
and when we
It's not
spoke.
like we could ever use it for anything.
When we spoke to him about it, the thing that you can do,
It's not even woods, it's, I mean, it'd be one thing to talk about like having mature trees on it, I mean, it's a floodplain.
I mean, I personally don't like the idea of him extending those
Who the
townhouses.
hell's gonna buy it? What would they do with it? They couldn't do anything.
Hey, it seems like any piece of ground is gonna value.
on the road here.
I mean, that's just my opinion, I mean, you know, I'm only one of 7.
when we discussed this with him, there was the vacation of the lease, and the other thing was that we would go out and get an appraisal of the property, and the upset price would be the market value of the property. So no matter whether you had one bid or a half a dozen bids, you would know that you would at least get the market value for the property.
I know, at least through us, that neither him nor his counsel have reached back out since that meeting, at least to
Well,
me.
no, because they were told no. That's the reason why.
And if that's still a sentiment here, that's fine, I'm just voicing my opinion that, you know, we keep talking, this keeps coming up like once a year or so. And again, I don't see how.
Thank you,
council.
What is it zoned now? Could they build townhouses on what, the
Yes.
smaller portion that they have?
They could.
Well, that plan is already approved.
Yeah, that's gonna.
Well, but if you move the pond and extend
could
it
build
down,
more.
that
Yeah.
would be an amendment to his plan that
Right.
he currently has.
But there's already townhouses going in, so you're.
Yes. You would have, I guess, it's 4 or 5 additional townhouses.
Which is on a private road, which, you know, we're never gonna have to worry about maintaining.
Right.
You know, it's 5 additional houses that generate tax revenue. I'm just.
Oh, because the HOP is not for Valley Brook?
But no, because we specifically put in that plan that the road would always be private.
Yeah, that's not.
So that we didn't have the same issue that we had with Mallard down the street when they came in and had us take it over afterwards, so. So, I mean, you guys, whatever you want to do, that's just my position on it.
I'm okay with the status quo personally. I mean, it's not costing us anything to maintain the
No.
pond.
No, but on the other hand, you could get a little bit more tax base.
And the majority of that property is gonna get developed anyway.
Mhm.
So what's the motion? To approve an assessment and asking them about a lease?
Well, I think it's for us to go, if you're interested in moving forward this again, it's for us to go back to Mr. Robinson and find out whether or not he's willing to vacate the lease and willing to pay the market value for the property. And then we'll come up with a process the council would have to authorize for us to go out to bid to sell the property.
I don't have any objection.
And whoever bought it would have to relocate the pond.
That would be a condition of the sale.
Anybody want to make that motion? I guess I'll make it since I.
Motion to have a conversation.
Right, motion to have a conversation.
Yeah.
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
4-2, Mr. Lauer. Next item, payroll and bills. In Ms. Shanafeld's absence, I reviewed the payroll and bills. I find them to be in order. I move they be approved as submitted.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. 6-0, Mr. Lauer. Next item, correspondence. Email from Edward Teepee to Mark Zamitis and Paul Lauer dated June 2nd, 2026.
Yeah, that's just Mr. Tipple responding to issues that were raised back in October at the meeting. I don't think there's anything on there.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone want to discuss any of the board or committee minutes? Okay. Moving on to miscellaneous. We have interviews for the EQB on the 22nd.
That's what I'd like to be able to do.
Everybody available for that? We want to start what,
Before the meeting?
before the
Yes.
meeting?
I
Yes.
think I'm available.
So what time you want to start, 6:30?
6:45.
Okay. If I can be here.
What date is that?
That would be Monday, the 22nd, 2 weeks from today.
I think I'm okay.
All right, so we can plan to start at 6:45. Next item, easement for West Penn Power.
Yes, In your docket, I think there's a description of this. There is on, name the street? On Buckeye Street, there is a West Penn tower.
As soon as I hear about that street,
That it's a metal lattice structure that is failing, and they want to relocate their line, and what they're looking for is authorization to put a telephone pole on Buckeye Street and then extend it to an existing pole further down on their property. And all we're interested in finding out tonight, because this will be on council's agenda at a later date, is are you willing to entertain that?
No, I'm not. They don't take care of their poles now.
Yeah, but
They
I
don't
think
take
you-
care of the trees around them.
Yeah, but I think you have a dangerous situation with this structure that's there.
They could tear it down and build a new one.
Like,
And we'll get Tony to run the herd over.
Do we have any pictures of this thing?
I think it's in your docket. I don't know that I have it here. Yeah, it's in your docket.
Oh, that's pretty. See, look how nice that tower was. It's like pine and everything.
Is it in?
Okay, if it's
Again,
not,
Miss
it's in the
Memo, I
docket,
don't
that's
know.
fine. I just want to know if we could put it up for the people watching it at home.
I thought I saw a picture.
Down there.
All right, so the
That's a metal
consent
structure, it's rusted,
Here it is, right here.
unbelievably rusted.
blends in nicely with the.
How long did it last? That lasted a long time, didn't it?
last time we tried that, it didn't work.
You hardly even notice it's there.
Yeah, it blends right in.
Yeah.
That's the existing structure.
That's the existing structure that they want to abandon. They're
Stick
gonna,
a- stick a wood pole in its place?
what they're talking about is a telephone pole down near the,
Yeah, it's way down near the road. I think they should replace it.
well,
It'll last forever, at least 50 years, and, you know, maybe somebody wants to put a cell tower on it, right?
Here's what they wanna do. This line comes across, this is like Moeller's landscaping here. So their high tension wires come across right where our finger is. That's the metal pole that's rusted and they can't climb it anymore, so they wanna take it down. They would abandon this piece in the blue bubble here, put a new 50-foot high wooden pole next to the trail, and then basically it's rerouting their power over to an existing pole on Buckeye.
yeah.
There's
And
a
that,
bunch of existing poles that go up Buckeye and then up Linwood Drive
Yeah.
up to.
And they have right of ways for
and
all
that line that's in jeopardy goes across Montour Trail.
All right, who cares? I mean,
Yeah.
Why do we
I have
have
no
any
issue with
authority, I guess?
Because they need an easement from us because we're the property owner.
This red hashed area would be on trail property,
Yeah, I see.
so that's why,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, that's fine. Do you need a motion?
You're gonna get an easement agreement on a later date. We just wanna,
pay us for the easement?
well, that's a question is whether or not you want compensated for the easement.
Well, I think we gotta get something for John's time to.
They charge us.
Yeah, well, we're currently having a poll move, so we know that. So,
All right, next item, consulting engineer transition.
you wanna go through that, Mark? The consulting engineer, the transition,
What's the question?
what we've done with regard to the consulting engineer.
We met with Gibson Thomas last Tuesday and had a meeting. I don't know whether this is in your docket, but we came up with kind of a transition plan for, as you know, they're mainly involved, the engineer is mainly involved in land development process, plan reviews, inspection of public improvements, bond drawdowns. So we took a look at what projects were currently underway, what ones were significantly complete, and that we thought it would be a good job to just leave Gateway on, so it caused less confusion, and what ones we would give to Gibson Thomas. Of course, anything moving forward, we'll give to Gibson Thomas. So we talked through a transition plan with them. I think it was a good meeting. I think we have a game plan moving forward. That's the update.
Yeah, so where you have new plans coming in, those goes to Gibson Thomas. Where there's a break between the approval by the planning commission and our council and inspection needs to begin, those inspections go to Gibson Thomas. Where we're finishing up inspections on existing projects, Gateway Engineers is going to continue to do that. And where a 90-day clock has started and a review has begun by by Gateway. Gateway's gonna finish that, so. And I think both Gateway and Gibson Thomas have understood what have suggested, and both are in agreement that that makes sense. So.
And has Gateway agreed to serve as the alternate?
Yes, they have.
All right, next item, AT&T Cell Tower, Druid Drive.
Well, we had a meeting today with the people in charge of that project. Work on the project will begin, they hope, 2 weeks from today. The initial work on the project is simply to dig and pour the footing needed to put the pole in place. In addition to that, they may be putting up the new fenced area, taking down the wooden fence that they're replacing with the plastic fence, and removing any equipment that's in the current enclosure that is not needed to operate the existing tower. That's all the work they intend to do right now, and that they estimate is going to take about 3 weeks to get done. They're going to come back in the fall, they don't have a date yet, and de-energize the tower, and at that point in time, the pole will be put in place as well as the antenna array and all the new equipment that's needed to be able to do that. So.
We received a
Come on up,
letter,
Mr. Brown.
I think.
Mr. Brown, don't start talking until you get to the microphone.
We all received a letter about a public hearing tomorrow, and it was from a gentleman at Diamond. Were you aware of that, Mr. Holdred? And it was supposed to be here tomorrow.
You have it with you, Tony?
No, but I can get it to you. When you called me, Mark, you said there was gonna be a meeting on the 22nd, I thought I'd written down, with all the interested parties. You're saying it's already happened.
I haven't talked to you, Tony. I think you talked to someone else.
You talked to me, Tony.
I'm sorry, Kyle, yeah.
There was a meeting between the township's staff and the contractors.
Yeah, I was of the understanding, and I told everybody that was gonna be on the 22nd, so we must have just switched wires. But I have a letter talking about a meeting.
Do you have it with you?
I'll get it to you. It's
Yeah.
from Diamond, and it was supposed to go to people within a certain distance.
Right, and what it's supposed to do is, because one of the 15 conditions of approval was that there was a letter to go out to everyone. They told us that that was mailed out last Thursday.
Yeah.
And what it is to do is to provide you a contact.
Yep.
And a telephone
It
number.
did more than that.
Okay.
It said there was a meeting here tomorrow.
I'll tell you what, I have not seen that.
No. What the letter says is it's a letter from Amentum, which is their consultant, to the people within 600 feet of the tower, just notifying them of the contact for the project. Tony, what you're referring to is a letter from 2005.
No, I just saw
Or,
the
I mean, I'm
mail
sorry,
today.
2025.
Let me-
2020.
Can I see the one you're
Yep.
looking at?
Absolutely.
Because we did have a couple questions.
So here's what you're referring to. June 9th, 2025. Today's June 8th.
That was attached to
No,
that.
9:45.
Yeah, that's an attachment.
This meeting will be held June 9th, 2025. Oh, my God. Okay.
You know what, and
So
if it was
just
attached.
an old history.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were just
Okay.
giving you the history.
And Mark was already here then, okay.
Yep. Yeah.
Thank you. So I guess what I'd ask is, you've already had your meeting. Do we have a clarification? We've been seeing a lot of things about how satellite has taken off, and there's been a lot of alternatives. So let's say we're 10 years down the road, and they're no longer using 5G, whether it's 8G, satellites, whatever. I remember you put up a proposal for a new cell ordinance that would be outside of the comprehensive plan. Has that been approved?
It is not.
So where are we in requirements with Diamond, AT&T, and whoever, that if that becomes unusable equipment, what happens?
To be honest with you, I don't know the answer to that question. I can research that.
Well, I thought we'd all talked about that, and it was gonna be a restriction that they're responsible. If you are no longer running this equipment, you take it out. And if we don't have that,
I'd like to see if we can have that, and then how you fortify it and make it mandatory. Who's responsible? I mean, so right now, you don't think we have anything in place or upcoming that when they build these structures, that if they're no longer using or maintaining, they gotta get it out?
I would think that the landowner probably has that in their lease.
You would think.
Maybe, no, I bet you it's with the power company. They probably have a
Yeah.
lease with the power company, and I would guarantee you, they probably put something in there that said,
Right.
if you abandon this, you have to put it back the way it was. I mean, I would think. they're not
So you
gonna-
think First Energy,
First Energy probably has some kind of.
and I wonder who they,
But let us do
Have
this,
on that.
Tony.
We look though, just to make sure.
Let us research that and we'll get
I
back to you.
appreciate that. Thank you.
I would think they would do that.
All
I would
right,
think so.
final item under miscellaneous, property tax assessment appeals.
So I just wanted to let council know the school district has taken action to authorize the appeal of residential and commercial properties on sale. So, up to this point, the township and the school district have worked together to defend commercial assessments when there's appeals made by the property owner of a commercial property. What this is the school district's going to move ahead, and when a sale occurs, to examine the sale price and using the common level ratio. And if that dictates that the assessment is too low, they're going to go in and appeal that assessment. They, up to this point, the Peters Township School District has been the only school district in Washington County that has not been doing this. And their intention is to move ahead with this on all sales. My understanding is from talking to the business manager that they're authorized to move ahead with this.
All right,
Can we table this until we have a meeting with the district that they asked to be delayed until September? Because I think that before we, in my opinion, start defending them, I think that we need to have an account of all the services that they use on our behalf and how much we get reimbursed. Because if they're gonna continue to raise taxes in perpetuity, and then we're gonna be footing the bill for some of the services they assume, that maybe we should be fully reimbursed before they continue to do that.
Just with regard to these appeals, they have not asked for us to participate in the appeals. And
None
nor,
of them do. None of the schools.
and like I say, and nor would it be my recommendation that we do, because you'd be the only municipality in Washington County who participates in those.
Where's the county on that, Paul? Are they riding along?
It doesn't matter. I mean,
Are they, in the past, we've all three have been combined at
But-
times.
but that's only on defending appeals. That's not,
They're not
We get nothing out of that.
well, yeah.
oh, no, we do.
We do.
When-
When they set the reassessment.
Assessment, the county,
That applies to our
us,
tax.
and the county, the school district, the basis upon which the tax is set is a common number. And so it will impact the receipts of the township
And
as
those
well.
things aren't real, the commercial ones could be, but most of the residential ones,
They're not lucrative.
like, I handled some conflict ones for Peacock Keller, and, first of all, you don't make a lot of money, but your only evidence is the deed. Like, they bought a house and they paid $650 for it, and the assessed value is more than a certain they agree on some percentage. Say it exceeds the common level ratio appraised value by 25%. That's all you do, is you just go in there and say, oh, well, they paid $650.
But I think John's point is still valid. It would be nice to get an accounting, particularly if they're gonna continue to be raising these taxes yearly. It would be nice to know where all of that stands.
I don't think we want to open that box. But I
Because
get it.
ultimately, it's, they don't have to open their books to us. I mean, that's.
Paul, from what you're hearing, that don't want to be on new sales?
New sales.
But the reality, and that makes sense.
No, it wouldn't be new
because-
sales, it would be any sale.
Any sale.
Yeah.
So if they come in and if your house is assessed at 400,000 and you pay 800,000 for it, they're gonna,
Yes, and they're gonna
Having
have
been on
a.
the other side of that,
yeah.
oftentimes representing the property owner,
What's
it's
our
a pretty
ratio?
hard appeal to win, because
I
their
don't-
only
I don't-
evidence is they're gonna, like Frank said, they're gonna throw the deed on the table, then that's the time when you have to try to argue that your house is not worth what you paid for it. Yeah.
And there are bases for that.
You know, that sometimes.
Yeah, I just don't want them doing everybody.
No, they
you have to
pick
be
some
over a certain-
percentage.
You have to be over a certain threshold.
Right.
In order for them.
Some
to
of
do
the
that.
ones
Do they
I
also
think they were
set
like
minimum home values
Yeah.
before
Like,
they even look at them?
Well, what they
a certain
look at
percentage
is.
over what the assessed value was.
Right.
So if the assessed value's, 200,000 and they sell it for 400,000, that probably would qualify for one that they would appeal. You know, like, I don't know what the percentages are, they all set them different.
Yes, but what Mr. Curry is saying is what has occurred across the street. My understanding is that they're not going to appeal every one that comes through. They're gonna make sense out of it.
You couldn't,
Yeah.
it would be not cost effective
Effective,
to
yeah.
do it that way.
I mean, typically, you only, and this has been going on in Allegheny County for 15 years. I mean, it's, particularly the schools in the North Hills are famous for that.
Yeah. But it's been going on in Washington County for a number of years as
But
well.
the point of the matter is, I mean, it makes no sense for us to be involved in it because what, like,
Oh,
74 cents of every tax dollar, real estate tax dollar
Yeah,
goes to the school
it's-
district,
yeah.
right? So it's,
Yes.
ultimately, I mean, the benefit we get from it is so little that there's no point
But
in
we
being
have to
involved.
share in their cost.
No.
No, they don't ask us to. They
No,
just
we don't share anything, they just do it.
They just do it and then, you know.
But if we agreed to,
Nope.
so why are we?
No.
I think
The only
just-
reason I'm
It's a long
telling you
time.
this is that it's going to affect people's assessed values. And I think sometimes there's confusion about who's driving those kind of decisions. We, personally, I don't think we want to be involved in that. We have never appealed an assessed value on our own for somebody in terms of a residential property, or for that matter, even a commercial property.
Yeah, I think
All
we
we
should
have
be
ever
involved in
done is
that one.
defend appeals on commercial properties.
Like Kmart, remember when Kmart?
Right.
We did that one, I
Yes,
remember that one.
we've done nursing homes, yes.
All right, is there anything anybody wants to see on the next agenda? All right, we have executive session.
Yes, we do.
All right, meeting adjourned.